a little too close because gets taken out with some height. Nizul, the only one alive for this squad. The Cossack Pharaohs trying to provide them some comfort and some extra cover. See if he can do it as NRG also get deleted in the feed by LG. They come out on top here. They got the power weapon in hand as Oxygen are trying to rotate it.
Yeah, and they've got the high ground as well. Remember, Oxygen only 5 points away from hitting match point here. These kills could be crucial.
See how Oxygen plays around the respawn beacon here. Vayne in a lot of trouble. Oxygen though are out in the open. Yes, they had the high ground advantage, but look, LG on the other side. Have the natural cover of the rocks. They could not get Jaguares back up. Nizul, though, has been playing off this rock so beautifully, but Yanya needs all the help. You can see the ping, probably a broken player on the side of Oxygen. Digi-Threat in the hands of Vayne, playing right through the bank smoke. Aiden also in some help, but still managed to stay alive. LG out of this lobby and Oxygen now, just 2 points away. Rather now hitting match point right now.
Had they done it in time, though, we do see the gold knockdown able to res them, but they're right on the edge of the zone. They need to get in. It's going to be such a hard rotation.
2 more points left for LG to hit match point. They need to get 2 more KP or placement points as the rotation now comes in. Alliance north of 100 Thieves, shrinking for 100 Thieves. They don't have the natural cover of the rocks unless they go to the right.
Oh, both of the teams might struggle to get out of this one. As you can see, Alliance try and stay ahead of the zone and ahead of the game. Whoever wins this should be able to make it to the train cars just to the northwest of them, but they've lost effect.
The circle doing so much damage, bringing tears to the eyes of Alliance. Nice for the wall hop here. Hockeys! Oh, so much damage, but in the distance. Gets taken out by the teams that have them in their sight. Polvrex still in circle position. FC Destroy on the other side. Moist Esports taking a chunk out of the squad that had to rotate out from Alliance.
This is crazy.
Moist has been a little bit quiet today so far, Vicky, in stark contrast to what we saw out of them yesterday. They looked like the best team in the lobby. Indeed, they were, but they are currently 23 points away from being match point. Now, if we have a look at this zone, damn, if I couldn't have called that any better. That is pixels away from the weather station I was talking about. Of course, that very small circle there to the left of Optic Gaming is where it will be ending up. Now, Polvrex have been eliminated. You can see some of the remnants of their amped cover still on that map feed there, but Fnatic have a lot of space to themselves.
Where's TSM?
Even more beautiful. Fnatic with the Crypto, the Bangalore, the Valkyrie composition. Playing this from the fence line. Seeing if they can get the EMP for an engagement if a squad tries to contest them for this space, but I'm not expecting that to happen until this circle starts closing in. Thinking about Optic Gaming, holding the edge. FC Destroy that have not left their positioning this entire game. Closest team right now to match point in this lobby is KCP with 44 points.
All right, it's about to go down here on the south side. Vicky FaZe, TSM, Exit, and Pioneers all coming out of the building at the same time. Moisture on the west of this and should be able to pick up some free points here. They are going to look on with glee as Arcstars, Alt, Nades, everything come out from these 4 teams.
Oh, TSM reps getting double knock, taking out FaZe alongside Imperial Hound. Black Hole gets called in.
Let's go,
He's trying to dance around. He's forced to go into the circle. The gravity lift to take him up. He's taking so much damage off the health alone. Can't walk behind him, but you can't get out of the line of sight.
Anyone feel like a game 6? We're going again here. FC Destroy are the ones who come out of that alive. Moist also do very well. Both of our match point teams now are gone. Optic, they played this really well. Hit in a corner, essentially, on the right side of the map, and now have decided to make their move. They've got FC Destroy locked in behind that wall, but Exit are right next to them.
5 squads left. Let's jump into a listening with Optic Gaming holding circle advantage.
Think from us.
Yeah.
I'm safe. I'm really safe here.
Here, drop.
Stare at my ping. Yeah, they moved to us. Yeah, bang got knocked. On me, Horizon.
Coming.
Front, one. Dead.
Nice.
Another one, I think.
Still a
duo on the fence. Still a duo on the fence.
Yo, gold helmet in this box.
Need light. I got light.
I'm holding our right.
Dropping swap.
You have ult.
They're
I
playing
have
back
Horizon
here.
ult.
Okay, you're gonna Horizon ult the duo. You're gonna Horizon ult the duo.
With his free kills, I should
Sickening.
save.
Okay, fine. They climbed up.
They have to move. They're gonna put their just spray down.
Evacuum.
I'm playing on low ground here.
Shoot their wall
Yeah,
out.
playing low
Shoot their
Yeah,
wall out.
shoot their wall out.
Get
Newcastle
dead.
dead.
Just Watson. Just Watson.
Flash, 50 flash, 60 flash. He's one.
Got him.
Nice.
And, queuing up towards us.
Yeah.
I'm ulting these guys.
Oh, crack, shit
Out
on,
to
crack,
them.
shit on.
Move back.
1-1. Crack 2.
I
Crack
got
2.
two.
Zero, zero, one.
Cat is one.
Nading our other side,
Nice.
guys.
Dead, last
They're
team,
swing,
last
they're swing.
I'm landing behind them. 60, 70 on, 70 on top. You go,
Got the
you,
flash.
go crazy, knock.
I got the valve.
Nice, nice, nice. Play aggro.
Crack
the swap,
crypto,
back
crack
the
crypto.
swap.
I have knock for you.
They're aping me.
Knock for you here.
1v2, 1v2. There's a gold swap on the ground. You can climb,
Climb
up
up
to me.
left, yes, climb up left.
You just got a bat off left.
Go down at the hands of Fnatic. The sigh of relief from this team as they were able to approach Optic from the back angle, crossing that open ground that Optic was holding for the longest. So close here, and Fnatic putting themselves on the board, the pop-ups from the crowd.
Patience pays pounds here for Oxygen, who almost get it to match point, but it's Optic Gaming who come out on top here. A big game, sorry, Fnatic who comes out on top, but we've got some really awesome supporters up there in the crowd. You can see the flags coming out. APAC North yet to win a trophy here at LAN, but Fnatic slowly pushing their way to change that narrative.
I love seeing the signs of the crowd. Fnatic win. I believe that sets them up with 35 points. We're going to have to see with the total kills that they were able to secure aside from first right there. But we're seeing so much from Yuka getting 8 kills alone so far throughout the course of the day. They needed that dub to set them up. But you know that also means my favorite thing. It means more Apex Legends after we said goodbye to Dark Zero and TSM in the lobby originally. Let's see the final circle playthrough and how Optic had to play that originally, and seeing how Fnatic also approached that. It was good timing on their part here too, because they saw the fight opportunity open up for them to rotate in.
Now remember, these guys had about half the circle to themselves coming into this. You can see very hard cover. Fantastic positions for them to be in. There's still 4 squads alive at this point, and they do actually let Optic Gaming do a lot of the work. That's FC Destroy. They've got a flimsy mobile shield, does not hold them out. And then with Moist still sticking around, it's going to be Fnatic rolling up on them with the Gigi threats.
And what I loved about this too was from Optic point of view, we saw the gravity lift and then the option coverage from Optic to try to find a Fnatic. They knew they were going to rotate here. You saw Umichan going down first before Skittlecake met his doom as well. But this is beautiful. Meltstera having the Digi, having the smoke, having all the Fuke here too, while Yuka is going to be able to pop that shield bat before finishing off what was left of Optic Gaming from the back end. Great timing and rotation from Fnatic. And just like you mentioned in what we've seen, Genome, they were also able to hold that circle position from the very beginning.
Optic did well there to get into that top 2, but unfortunately for them, Fnatic and Yuka, we had an interview with him earlier, one of the most mechanically gifted players, known primarily, I would say, for his movement mechanics. He looks like he's playing a different game. I mean, he is Spider-Man.
He's so humbled there too, talking about what a good friend Umichan is for him, the way that this squad is so cohesive, looking at the damage output that everybody has built on this squad, as well as the follow-ups that we were able to see from Meltstera. Yuka was able to finish the job with 4 kills, Umichan with 2. Fnatic right now, putting a name on the board as they need for the rest of APAC.
Yeah, 35 points for them overall, and you can see here the match 5 results we're going to look at. Moist finally putting themselves on the board here, 12 points. Xset also ticking up at 12, but down there in 10th at Oxygen is the heartbreak point.
Yes.
They got 7 points, a single kill or placement point more would have jumped them up into contention for match 6.
1 point? Are you kidding me? It's going to be crazy for this next game. Looking at this second page now, LG Chivas did get 3 KP, Alliance 100 Thieves as well. Also nice to note from that first page, KCP just a few points away from also sitting at match point. They currently have 47 points, which is going to mean all the difference. All the way at the bottom, that 50-50 that we keep seeing on World's Edge, GO are the ones to say goodbye, not going to be able to secure the extra points that they needed when they were currently sitting on 15th now overall, as we took a look at the series results here.
Yeah, even with only 2 points, Dark Zero still stand head and shoulders above the rest. TSM, again, can't quite make it out. They're just not getting those favorable pulls. And, I mean, you know, these final circles, obviously, in this sort of a lobby, everyone is playing very good Apex. The macro is impeccable, and finding those power positions where you don't just have to make a gamble, because we saw TSM coming out of that building. It's a bit of a gamble, Vicky. There's 4 other teams around. You got Moist beaming down on you. You know, there's no guarantee you're getting out of that. So
that's what I was mentioning. FC Destroy taking that off lot position with the Watson fences, how scary it could be for the teams cycling outside of that north climatizer building, but that also highlights how quick these squads are in getting the information they need with the ring console, and even denying that from other teams like we have seen from Storm Point. Love to see the fans out here. Radio too making an appearance. Shout out to all you guys that have made your way into the Copper Box Arena. It is so hyped to see you guys out here. I'm gonna toss it over to Blaze with the interview. Show us what you got, Blaze.
Thank you so much, Vicky. I got Mama Verhulst with me on the main stage, and she has been out here vibing, having a fantastic time. Now, moms, okay, I love to refer to your son as Biggie, but I know that's your little E right there on stage. What is it like watching him play at match point in this amazing crowd in London?
I am not gonna lie, I get sick to my stomach with nervous energy. I mean, it is crazy to see him here. We are so excited,
so
it's
cute.
thrilling.
It really is thrilling, okay? Now, you got a chance to watch him win that championship last time. What would it mean to you and the fam, okay? Because we all love the Verhulst family. What would it mean for him to do that again?
Oh my goodness, it would be so amazing
to
if they
anybody
could win
watching
again.
for
I mean,
free
my family
comments,
supports
and
Evan
something in
and all of
chat. I would
TSM
really,
wholeheartedly.
really appreciate
There is nothing we'd
it.
rather see in the
How
entire
you
world
doing
right now
today?
than to see TSM take home the win.
Would you guys like to see that? Now, your family gets so much support here from this community, and TSM is going. What do you want to say to the TSM fans to get them hyped up going into this next match?
Oh my goodness, fans from around the world have come up and said hello to me and said that they're fans of TSM. It has been so exciting. I just thank everyone for the love and the support. And go TSM!
Go TSM! That's gonna do it for me and Mama Verhulst here on the stage.
Just for team.
Mark,
My bad.
It's our pleasure to take it away, Blaze. Always good to hear from Mama
lose.
Verhulst. She's always bringing the vibes. Obviously, she wants to see her son
Literally
lift that
sick.
trophy back to back for the second time. But
Literally
of course,
sick. I
there's some
could
work to
throw
do
up.
for them to get done. That was a difficult
lot
sentence.
of work to get
But we
done.
got it out eventually.
You got through it, and that's what matters, and they need to get through it as well. Now, you will remember at Split 1 playoffs, it took TSM quite some time to get there and
Alright,
actually
game
lift that
6.
trophy. 4 games before they
got
managed to get
bowed.
past match point and get a victory. So it's not like it's doom and gloom just yet after a couple of games.
Certainly isn't indeed, and we want to thank some of our sponsors, of course, for helping us put these awesome shows together for everyone who's in the arena and for you at home to enjoy. And I tell you what, those things, beautiful stuff from Herman Miller. We want to give a shout out, of course, to one of our sponsors, Herman Miller. Gaming in Body and Phantom chairs are being used at today's event. Phantom comes in red, white and black and is the newest product offered by Herman Miller Gaming. The iconic Gaming in Body is now offered with a white base,
I didn't know
Galaxy,
like you were
or
betting your
Amethyst
channel
upholstery.
points.
Herman Miller
And, like,
Gaming
when
is
I
the
went on
official
there, it
chair
said,
partner of the ALGS.
like the
I
max
still need
is
one.
whatever
Though.
my
Straight up,
channel
straight
points
up. They
are.
still need one.
Still not
So
been
I-
given one yet, but maybe if he keeps
literally
shouting
did
them out,
all
he
my
might
channel
get one.
points and
Maybe if I shout him out,
lost.
maybe I'll
If they need to know where I am.
Would you fit
Come
in
up
one of
I'm
them? That's the
literally
real
sick,
question. You are a
bro.
very large man now.
I am, but, you know, yes, I would. Anyway, let's talk about Apex Legends. Let's focus on what we've got ahead of us because we have to change things up a little bit here. We're going to keep rolling across. TSM probably thinking back on that and thinking, we were there, we were in touching distance, but it was a very tough rotate for them to make towards that end zone. Dark Zero still on match point as well. Oxygen got so close though. They were 1 point off of hitting match point, and then just behind them you have
So, yeah, I bet
Pioneers
on
who
my
need
channel
3
points
more.
again.
Alliance needs 7. You get the feeling, Dan, that if TSM or Dark Zero don't get it done right here, right now in this next game, then all of a sudden the shop floor is open and we're going to have a bunch of teams joining them.
Well, one thing that Dark Zero are doing very well at is still accumulating points. They have 72 at the moment, so they are first in the table. Even if someone was to kind of sneak in and take that first place away from them, they'd still be in a healthy second as long as they are getting those points. And they look confident, they sound confident. Every time they walk past me backstage as we come up to the caster booth, they're looking like they saying, yeah, oh, this will be the one. They just know that they have that potential. They are the champions mentality squad that we know and love. But we'll have to see whether they can get it done. It is going to be World's Edge again, and we'll have to see whether Jeb Burton can lead and supply the goods with the rest of this squad.
I mean, it definitely supplies the vibes, though. Like you said, you know, when we see players run up and down the stairs, Jen comes past us every time. He's like, hey, let's go, boys. He's ready to get back on the stage and see if he can be in position to once again lift a trophy. But we've got to talk about what's happened. We've got to talk about where we are going. World's Edge will still be the battleground in our match number 6 here. TSM, FC Destroy, Dark Zero, Pioneers, and Fnatic in that last game, all with wins, but no wins that guaranteed a championship.
And just to let you know, Dark Zero have yet to find a win on World's Edge so far this tournament, so Stormpoint is their better map, but at the same time, at some point, stats go out the window a little bit when it's Dark Zero, because they just seem to clutch it up at that final moment and always show us how it's done when it comes to match point. But I think it's very important for both Dark Zero and TSM that they are still the only 2 teams on match point. But if they don't get it done here in 6, we're going to start to see several more get added to that roster, and then suddenly it becomes carnage in those final circles. Who am I fighting? Are they on match point? If I lose this, will we lose the tournament? It's much easier to focus and try and assess things when it's only 2 teams who are on match point.
Also interesting to point out as well, is this something that Oxygen to look back on in that last game to get just 1 more KP, and we could have been there. Pioneers as well, extremely close to joining them on match point, and maybe, just maybe, Pioneers will be able to get it done. They don't look worried about things though. Look at Nasky right now, chilling.
They got a massive victory and had a massive celebration as well. I mean, so much adrenaline pumping through your veins when you do find that victory. Yeah, we're talking about you, bud, thumbs up. Can't hear anything though.
I think if people, he wants to get the pit, he doesn't get out of his seat anymore unless there's more noise in the arena.
It's probably
you know what I mean?
Yeah, probably been told off.
It gets a little bit louder than Nasky will give it back to you.
Jumping around, almost broke the stage at this point. But the Pioneers, they played 6, they've won 1. A lot of kills and assists. The Pioneers, I mean, they put themselves in a real shot of getting to match point here. Just a few kills, that is 1 team fight that you have to win, and then you are on match point. Now, if they were to achieve that in the early stages, you start to think, right, where do we think TSM are? Where do we think Dark Zero are? How can we maybe cut them off on their rotation? Will we be able to find them, shut them down, so we can get into that next game and put that match point eligibility onto effect?
One thing that was interesting to kind of note from the last 2 games, by the way, oh my goodness, that is the official dance of the Apex Legends Global Series. I'm not sure if I can say that, but this is the series results. And I want to talk about the zones, as you can see the scores and where everyone stands at the moment, because the Dark Zero and TSM, they were 2 tough zones that we saw on Stormpoint and World's Edge for them to close out that match point. And even though both gave it their all and almost managed to get to that end game, it was just, maybe just a little bit too much to ask with that zone and having to do it all. But a little bit of a shift, and we see one of those zones. The interesting thing is that comes maybe a little more central. Maybe we see a Siphon zone, maybe we see a Harvester zone. Both of them are so close to each other as POIs here at World's Edge. They're the 2 match point teams. That's where they're going to be dropping. And all of a sudden, then it becomes a battle of TSM and Dark Zero having priority to a zone and being able to potentially close it out.
I mean, there are certain circles and zones that would encourage the possibility of a Dark Zero versus TSM final fight. We know it's entirely possible with how they are going to be playing. They have both been rotating early. They have both been trying to find themselves in that final circle. Match 6 is locked and loaded, ladies and gentlemen. It's time to see if we are going to crown a champion, or of course, are we going to keep on rolling into match number 7?
She has like these cool.
This could be it for Dark Zero or Team Solo Mid. For the rest of the lobby, it's about joining them. It's about being part of the cast that could potentially send it another game where they could become champions. DZ and TSM, the 2 teams who can win it right here, right now in match number 6, but just behind them, Oxygen, Pioneers, Alliance, Moist and Fnatic, even FaZe down with a win here. You would say maybe
this
pushing
game
themselves
6
past
or
that 50-point
7?
threshold as we start off with the contest once again.
Yeah, whilst everyone else gets
Why
looted
is everybody
it's
playing
Blackhand
right
versus
here?
Gambari
I'm, like,
Artisan.
cooking so
Round
fast.
number 4 here as Blackhand have already lost one, but it is a trade straight 1-for-1. And every single time they try and take that height, Gio.
Knocks on either side at the moment. Blackhand still have 2 up. Going to double push the height though. Player's going to drop off, and I'm pretty sure that's going to be the win for Blackhand. Gambare Artisan are going to be eliminated, but is there a third party in the vicinity here? Fire Beavers have heard this. They know the contest is going down, but are they close enough to capitalize?
I don't think they had the weapons to really try and take this fight. They definitely gave it a good effort, and you could see the pings from a distance, but because they weren't able to close that gap, because the fight was finished quick enough, Fire Beavers are going to have to back off here.
Very interesting to see. It's actually 2 players from Fire Beavers. This is a deliberate strategy because over in East Fragment at the moment, 1 player's still there. And that's going to be 9 Impulse. He said, you know what, Taskmaster, all right, if you can go and influence that fight, if you can clean up some KP for us, go and do it. It's risk-free. And when you were looking across, like you say, in the weaponry they're trying to do it with, you know, Havoc with no attachments, you kind of got the idea that this was a deliberate ploy from Fire Beavers, but just didn't work.
Well, you can see where the circle's going at the moment. It's a good one for Dark Zero, who are Harvester, an amazing one for NRG, who are landing down towards staging, and Dark Zero are already making their move, as are TSM on the map, who are just going to be shadowing them over towards Harvester. So this is interesting. Our 2 match point teams moving very quickly, but look where TSM are landing. Pioneers are not so far behind.
Yeah, it looks like TSM are going to land inside a Harvester, and you're talking about priority to zone. Well, you've just seen it on the right-hand side of your screen. Dark Zero and TSM both have priority to this zone. NRG staging, that's their home ground. They're heading over to Mirage Etoile at the moment. Blackhand now moving through Landslide, but this is where we expect to see a lot of the action taking place here. Over at staging, like I say, this is where NRG like to drop.
Yeah, Dark Zero have already found a home on the train tracks of staging, and there will be certainly a team who takes that building. Now, because NRG didn't have that ring console, they have moved away to Mirage Etoile, so they won't necessarily have known yet, but will quickly return to staging once they get that information. It may be that TSM take that building shortly. As for Oxygen, they're still making their way down from Lava Fissure, and actually they might come into contact with NRG.
I want to correct myself a little bit there, Dan. I said NRG love to drop over at staging. They maybe change their minds on that. They'd have to drop over at staging at the moment, might be a better indication from what we've heard from the 3 players. But Pioneers, we talked about their rotate. Well, TSM are now inside of staging. Pioneers are up on those tracks, and Dark Zero up on the hill house just to their west. So NRG, who may be trying to control the height, expecting it to fall down below them, onto the kind of geyser little setup that you can see in front of you, those 3 snake-like buildings, decided if we can control the height for the entirety of this game, then maybe we could be in a good position. But like you said, no ring console to play with here.
Yeah, they did have the survey beacon, so they saw a few teams moving, and now maybe they're getting that information that actually their drop location is where everyone's going to be arriving. It's a frustrating one, but sometimes that happens when you don't have the ring console, as already staging is getting very congested at the moment. NRG did consider taking the fight with Oxygen, but Oxygen are going to be more than happy just to wait this one out. They are 1 point away from match point, so they don't need to force anything. All they need to do is get into the top 15 here, and they will be on match point.
Such an interesting mentality if you're thinking about what Oxygen Esports have to do in this game, right? It's like, yeah, we need 1 more point. That's what we need to do. Get on to match point, get that 50. But then you're thinking, wait, we can't afford to let someone else win this game who's on match point already. So it's not just a case of getting 1 kill. You still have to try and win the game to deny either Dark Zero or TSM doing that. LG Shibas in front of us right now. They're making their rotate as well, all the way over from launch site at the moment, but they've got quite some way to go.
We are going to start to see a few teams get a little bit antsy. I mean, Fire Beavers, their drop and their attempt at third partying was a really big display of that, of we need to start getting kills. We need to have a big game to catch up these front runners, because we are falling far too far behind. They're on 13 points at the moment. If they want any chance of winning this tournament, they need to be winning this game, and it has to be a big pop-off one to get close enough to match point. But most importantly, of course, denying the victory is now Blackhand are taking this fight with Alliance.
Alliance, they're going to be eliminated. Alliance go out early here at the hands of Blackhand, and Alliance coming into this game only needed 7 points to get onto match watch from the lobby. We mentioned TSM and KCP a little bit earlier as well, and how close they were to each other on their rotate. Well, look at the kill feed. How's just taking down Naski.
And that could be such terrible news for KCP. Remember, they only need 3 points to get onto match point as well. So they will be trying to just go for placement, try and survive, but it looked like TSM were able to catch them on the cross. And now KCP are going to have to try and survive as a 2. But TSM have posted up inside of staging here. As Hal connects with a big triple take shot.
Well, it's a headshot that certainly rocked whoever it was on the other side of it. And now doing damage under that bridge.
That's crazy.
Triple take, probably one of the most undervalued weapons in my opinion. Not only is it the long range, consistent damage you can do to level up the Evos, but up close and personal, in comparison to some of the other snipers that you can use, really does become a little bit of a pocket shotgun.
So we can see there, TSM on the south side, Dark Zero on the northern side over towards those tracks, or actually switch those over, it's just on the screen it's the northern side, but technically they're on the south. You asked for a circle that was central enough that could involve both of these teams on set, and we have exactly that. Both Dark Zero and TSM are in a spot where they could win. But there are still 16 more teams who can disrupt that, and there is about 8 other teams who have already found their way into staging 2.
Pioneers eliminated as well. Wow. Pioneers are gone.
Wow.
They needed 3 points. So that's 2 teams who were in the chasing pack that we almost kind of assumed would get there with even a below average performance, have fallen early. Now you're looking at Oxygen Esports as the closest still to being able to cross it, but for Dark Zero and TSM fans, just smiling right now. The closest competition has fallen early.
Whilst it might seem easy to get top 15 for Oxygen here, just to get that one more point, we've seen it so many times when teams are this close and they're not able to achieve it because they play too passive, because they're not able to get into the top 15, because everyone else is going to be playing in a way that really disrupts their approach. 2 teams would have to be eliminated for Oxygen to get that extra point. Riddle Order and FaZe are going to be moving in and rotating from the northeast here, but I don't think they'll have to fight because they're going to probably run around one.
It's such an interesting zone, this, just to see where people are placed and the power that a ring console your POI can have. TSM had it. They had it at Lava Siphon. They had a ring console, and now they are set up inside a zone. NRG didn't. They drop at staging, leave, and now they're going to have to fight their way back in. Yes, the height is great to have over at Mirage, but you would much rather have that God spot, especially for a team like NRG, who is so good at playing off the back of it. Riddle Order now on the edge of Monument, having to take on Fire Beavers, and Fire Beavers, we saw them crafting up those armors. We saw them trying to make a little bit of a cheeky play at the start of this one. Well, now they're going to make a bit more of a straightforward one.
Arain has to back off here. Did connect with a few scout shots, but as soon as Fire Beavers get that little bit of damage, they are a team who like to jump on the opposition team. At the moment, Riddle Order are just backing off further and further. They do not want this fight right now, but Fire Beavers are continuing to push forward.
Taskmaster has his shields broken. There's the ultimate coming in from Bangalore. The smoke goes in and trying to use the Digi here. Nine Impulse to get that initial knock to block the sight. Taskmaster trying to fire blindly and down. No. Nine Impulse has gone down. Yu-Gi-Oh gets that first kill. He'll get the finish as well. Can they level up the numbers here? It looks like they're going to turn it into a 2v2. Taskmaster and Orion doing what they can to keep Fire Beavers alive here.
Yeah, if you want to have a chance of getting a match point, you've got to start winning some of these engagements and getting to the late game. As Orion manages to do even more with the car, the scout in the back pocket, but the high ground's there, as it's going to be Riddle Order who win it, but there's still another team griefing them from a distance, but at least they got the banner.
Should be able to get out, like you say, got the banner, can get into Monument, and they can get that res away. The team who is closest to them is FaZe, and they've just come through the choke from Harvester, so they are quite some way away. There's not really any worry. The only problem is going for the res, of course. FaZe might have seen an opportunity or might think about the fact that that fight might have not been clean, so maybe you're going to think about looking at that respawn beacon for a few seconds, but of course that's going to slow their rotating. It looks like that is not the choice coming in from FaZe.
So keep an eye on this kill feed as this next zone closes. If one more team is eliminated and it's not Oxygen Esports, then they will be on match point for the next game, and then their task is to stop TSM or Dark Zero from winning right here, right now in match number 6. As FaZe make their approach, it is just going to be an evac tower down to the south side of Harvester, rotate round, and then maybe go for the southern side of the tracks.
Oxygen Esports currently set up in Lava Fissure here. The closest team to them is going to be Exet leaving Countdown. And I wonder if they're just going to try and wrap this out. Pick up 1 KP. Doesn't look like that is going to be the choice that's made. As you can see, Vayne is pushed up to watch their backs for now. Reed's kind of just playing a flex position here between his 2 other teammates, making sure he's close enough to support them, but also wide enough to create a little bit of a barrier and command the space that does surround Oxygen Esports right now. Elsewhere, you can see on our map overhead, Pulverex on the edge of zone at the moment, controlling the top of the tracks. Inside the zone, though, TSM. Bang inside of the building of staging. Moist Esports, they're going to be down on the low ground. You've got Dark Zero up on the height. FC Destroy as well, in a very good position as we see the zone pull. All smiles for TSM fans.
Well, remember, both Dark Zero and TSM had ring consoles. Dark Zero chose to play the position they find themselves in. TSM had second choice because they were out there after, and they were like, oh my god, NRG aren't here. We've got this building if we want to take it. And now they are rewarded in absolute gold with that ring pull. 16 squads still remaining. Oxygen still waiting and hoping that someone gets eliminated so they get that 1 placement point. And as Oxygen are forced in by this next ring console, this next ring, excuse me, they really are going to be hoping that someone faults elsewhere. They don't want to have to take a fight until they've secured that 1 extra point.
Gridlorder have managed to get themselves back healthy. And all 3 players will approach this endgame for now. Got some meds to work with as well, so the red's not going to be too much of a problem. They should have to go through the train tunnel, though, in towards landslide, but 100 Thieves will be in the Vault Tunnel. Exit set up there at the moment. Elsewhere, Fnatic, the winners of our previous game. Kind of trapped in a corner now on the tracks. Kill feed is showing TSM once again involved with NRG this time. But Fnatic using this Dark Veil for now, just to survive.
Yeah, NRG are above Fnatic. TSM were able to grief them and were able to get that knock, and you can see NRG are right here, sorry, below them, excuse me. They've lost Nathan. Now NRG, who drop here at staging, were forced away because they had no ring console. They decided to quickly rotate back from a Mirage Etoile just now. But on their arrival, they were just shot out of the sky and they were griefed by so many members and so many players on this map. As still, Hal with this triple take is such a thorn in everyone's side who wants to try and survive on this bridge.
Oh, but here come Pulverex, and all of a sudden Fnatic, who are probably thinking about holding that spot down for some time, are going to have it taken off of them. Yuka's the last one, and Fnatic fall. 15 squads now remaining, and what a push from Pulverex.
And what does that mean? It means that Oxygen Esports have got that 1 point they needed to get on to match point. So Oxygen, if this goes to match 7, will have the chance to win here in the ALGS Split 2 playoffs. But they've got to stop Dark Zero and stop TSM. And Dark Zero in the moment have just lost 1. It's Blackhand.
Blackhand. Take down Jen Burton. Zero and Zainu have to hold off the pressure that is now coming in. The Q's going to hit 2 though. Woo. Silencing the 2 players underneath, but he can't swing. He knows he's going to play close. And Jen Burton might be finished off. Here he is.
Oh wow, but the push out straight away to do the damage, but they don't get the knock. That's massive for Blackhand because they'll be able to reset, get the bat, and Dark Zero still have to fight this 2 versus 3.
Zero, barely any HP to play with as well. Vayne is going to be the man who gets it. Oxygen Esports, who just got onto match point, will take out Dark Zero. They will not win it here.
Oxygen are going to be on a warpath now because they don't need to win this game. They just need to delete everyone from this server.
They will be saying, we've done Dark Zero. Where at TSM? Send us towards TSM. Oxygen get the 1 point and then burst into life here on World's Edge. It was a clean pick onto Jen Burton, though. You have to wonder from his point of view what that looked at. Vayne now continuing to keep the pressure on the rest of the lobby as Bugie will fall to.
An unbelievable change of pace from Oxygen. As soon as they secured that point, they instantly started sprinting towards any sort of action and said, hey, it could be one of the 2 teams we have to take down, and the first one that goes down is one of them. But it means that now it's just down to TSM, who are inside center zone. They are in staging. But this circle will shift ever so slightly away from the building they currently reside in. I can tell you that no one is in the current circle, as now Blackhand, after they lost that 1 member, they dropped down, they're trying to survive, but there's just too many teams here on set.
Easy flash left on his own. 13 squads now remaining, make it 12. NRG lose the last player. Sweet cannot rat out to give them any semblance of hope here. LG Shivas trying to work their way in as well. Jaguar is with this G7 scout trying to just pierce away at some armors to create space for them to move forward. LG will be safe inside of that train car that you can see in front of you where Nizol currently resides. But Xset are on the march here as well. And don't forget about Xset. 34 points on the board at the moment. Well within their capabilities to turn that into a 50-point game.
Yeah, Moist, FaZe, Xset, they are in touching distance of match point if they were to get a victory with some kills here. So if TSM don't find a victory, there is certainly a big chance we could have 4 teams on match point. We will at least have 3. Xset now just making sure they smoke off so they can hold this low ground, but they're going to have to keep moving as round 4 is closing, and there's going to be so many eyes on them here.
This is really rough, but they got an evac tower. They have an evac tower.
Love that for them.
The Algs is going to try and deny teams from being able to push and destroy that. And Xset might be able to hit that and get into the sky. Sykes finds one on his way up that as well. Optic Gaming, though, on top of the roof of the Snake building here, outside of that little respawn, pinging frantically to his teammates that there's a team behind that care package. Pulverix eliminated in the meantime. TSM is still alive in this lobby.
There is 6 teams on the
TSM
eastern side at the moment. TSM are still holding the building it's staging. Xset are trying to take up residence next to them as Oxygen are still surviving. And remember, they've got to match point, so all they want to do is try and take out other teams at this point. Evac Tower will go down. Ace the Destroyer has already fallen though, and this is the problem when you're down here in staging. You're so vulnerable when it's TSM who are doing that damage. It's still Hal with that triple take.
How up to Red Evo? Oxygen down to 1, but you maybe think that their job is done, but who would the story want to eliminate Oxygen? It would be TSM, but they don't do it themselves. Oxygen eliminated, but on match point. TSM, look at the rotate they have to make though. That zone pull forces them through Xset.
Xset are just below them, which is good news for TSM. The struggle is the fact that 100 Thieves are on the eastern side, and 100 Thieves can hold out TSM in this building. And if they've got grenades, 100 Thieves could stop TSM from winning this one. And look, I love this from TSM. Get some setup already. Get the ability to be able to just push out. The Dark Veil will give them cover from 100 Thieves, but it's about where you go. As soon as you're on that platform for TSM, you're going to be so vulnerable.
Vaxlon's got a Kraber though, and if TSM poke, if TSM prod, then surely he's just going to take a head off. Niazul now trying to hold on here for LG. Will find one, now has to move behind the Newcastle and eliminates FC, destroy LG, stay alive here. Yanya should be able to get rezzed as we're down to just 9.
This next circle is going to be everything. This could define Sunday here at the AOS Split 2 playoffs. Where does TSM go? Black Hole goes down, Dark Veil's also down as they take the space. They're protected for now, but when these walls fall, they're going to be very vulnerable indeed.
TSM trying to force a back-to-back, looking to become champions once more. Let's jump into a listening with TSM.
What's on the horizon? Loot up, loot up, loot up! You got one under here, one left. Loot up, wait, we might get chewed up on. Just chill. Chill up, chill. Peek up,
I'm chilling.
There's a guy in the smoke here. There's a guy in the smoke. In the smoke. Full team in the smoke.
There's a guy right underneath us.
I'm gonna throw like that. Can we throw
I have
like this?
60 energy.
I'm looking at that. Let's not tunnel on that. Yeah. They're fighting underneath. They're queuing back up. They're anything on height. Maybe we go quick fight ahead. I don't have catwall. I'm down though. Come here. Come over here.
Coming. They're dying.
Come over here. Follow me. Nading that.
Scanning that.
Wait, why?
Nice, swap.
They might take a few.
I'm batting right now.
Yep.
It's 5 with 12 guys. I gotta loot. I have done.
We have zone. Grab nades. Yeah.
Hold. What do you hold?
I need heavy ammo bad. I have 30 heavy. That's it.
I'm looting right now. I have 60 energy. That's it.
TSM top 5. Optic Gaming eliminated, making the top 4 here as Hal spots out Scurry.
Scurry was trying to do his big one, I'm not gonna lie.
You can feel the tension in the arena. TSM have to move first. They have a 40% conversion rate on World's Edge from top 5s in the regular season. That increases to 60% if they get to top 3. At the moment they have the high ground, they move up. Do the other teams know? Have they been watching that kill feed? Are they aware that TSM are in this final circle?
Big damage coming in as well from Verhulst. The piercing spikes down is going to force 100 Thieves to be a little bit split here. You can see the Scurry is pretty much the last alive for 100 Thieves. FaZe down on the low ground though. And don't forget about Xset. FaZe for a full 3, 100 Thieves are a solo, Xset a full 3 as well as TSM.
It's a battle of North America in the final circle. And someone's going to have to take down one of their regional friends if they want this tournament to keep going. Now TSM will be forced off a fight, and they might get pushed here because there will be a ground lift behind them.
They're going to get queued behind, and it's Xset! It's Xset!
No!
And here comes FaZe now! Looking to clean up the pieces!
No!
FaZe are your champions here in Game 6!
That's crazy.
But it's the Pro League champions Xset that deny TSM a shot at the back-to-back playoffs win.
That's crazy.
What an insane grab lift behind TSM, catching them off guard.
That's
And who'd have
crazy,
thought
bro.
it's Eric Rona on FaZe, the previous TSM member, who gets the victory to deny TSM the trophy in match 6. FaZe up. You know what that means? We're going to match 7.
As a good friend of ours once said, Eric Rona, when he needs to get it done, that man has more experience than anyone. As FaZe will win such an intense endgame.
And you know what makes it even that bit sweeter? FaZe are on match point. We will have 4 teams going into match point on match 7. Surely someone takes it here.
Xset also crossed that threshold in the game.
5 teams!
Oxygen Esports, Xset, FaZe, Dark Zero, and TSM now put themselves within reach of making history. You good?
So, statistically, 7 matches is usually where we see match point format finished. And I tell you what, with 5 teams now on match point, those stats probably looking pretty good right now, especially when you look at the squads that are on match point. The Giants, who have dominated so many of the games in their region, now are going to have the chance to try and show up here in match number 7.
Genuinely shaking there. Look at that, everyone. Look.
We're getting too old for this.
Getting too old for this. It's ridiculous, isn't it? I mean, what an end game that was. You just felt when TSM had made a couple of ballsy plays to try and clear one side of the zone, they had that height.
I keep losing my
that
channel
maybe
points.
They had it.
I'm
But
sick.
this is Apex Legends, everyone. It's not as simple as that. They will have to wait. And now we have just double checking it. 5 teams who can go forward and maybe win it in the next one. We're going to send it down to Rainy on the desk because I need to catch my breath.
I'm not sure if that was the excitement or the Monster Energy on set, but I have a feeling it was the excitement. This building is alive in the best way possible. And as we get to break down the action on the desk after 6, it is an incredible experience to see the way these teams are performing. Anybody could go, but until you win, we go again. I'm here with Glitter Explosion. Of course, Arcane joining us on the desk in replacement of Sabs this time around. Excited to hear what you've been thinking. Spider, Tiff, and Dia as well, joining myself, Rain Day. Arcane, I'm going to jump to you. Let's walk back through that final circle, because a lot of us in the room were ready for a TSM win.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I was already ready to close this tournament out, man. TSM moves down into what I believe to be a perfect position. They're controlling the high ground. They're playing their space. They're looking over the zone. As the zone closes, they drop down to the bridge, and they don't get too hasty. They play the box. They wait for the zone to close out, because at first I can tell that they were preemptively positioning in case a Team Horizon queued up on them. But I think the moment got to them here. As they're holding the high ground, they're checking out the zone. They're watching for 100 Thieves. 100 Thieves is playing the far side. They do a great job of controlling this left side of the zone and pushing 100 Thieves out. As they push up, they force 100 Thieves into the low ground, which I assumed was going to be what wins them this match. But, you know, I think they got a little too preoccupied with where the zone was going to end. And ultimately, as they're focusing on where the zone's going to go, they stop worrying about what's going on below them. This whole time, we have Exit playing on the staging side, underneath the bridge, holding the low ground. On a Horizon comp, they're focused on the low ground. Behind them, what they don't see is Exit Horizon Q's up on them, takes them from the back, opens with two easy free knocks, and just like that, TSM is instantly eliminated.
They got
That ends up being the biggest storyline there. The team's kind of working against the grain for themselves, but for the grain for TSM to not win here. Ultimately, FaZe, who stays out of the contest, ends up taking it glitter as they claim the top spot in the points in this game.
And this was something that FaZe really needed to do in this situation because OXG got themselves on match point. KCP, I mean, we heard the cast talking about it. 5 teams now on match point. If FaZe didn't do that, there's a really very real chance that someone else would have closed it out.
Tiff, incredible game by Xset as well, but what did you notice here on this Game 6?
All right, so while I was watching this game, I was sitting back there, I had map feed, and I was like trying to analyze everything on how this is going to end. It's very similar to a lot of the zones that we've been seeing, but Oxygen Esports, right, they were 1 point away from that 50-point threshold. They sat in a building and waited till they essentially had that 1 point, and then we're like, all right, it's time to exit this building. We don't necessarily care what happens, but you need to focus on essentially making sure that DZ, that TSM, the teams on match point don't win, so you can go into the next game and say, all right, look, this is my team to win.
I love that. And honestly, Dia, as we take a look at the overall series results, 5 teams on match point. It says open as ever. What have you seen?
FaZe, now having crossed that threshold with the win, are one of my teams that I'm curious about, or I could say even teams to watch, simply because of the way they've been playing the last couple games. I actually caught Phony in between games and heard about his clutch against Dark Zero when they were back on Storm Point. Now that FaZe have stopped yet another match point team from doing so, they have been performing with incredible accuracy, incredible awareness of the teams around them, and I think that there's a good chance they take it.
FaZe was a team, specifically one of the 5 that we've been mentioning here, that I thought Phony needed to step up into that role to be the level of player like a Hockey, like a Howl, like a Sweet, that just comes into that next echelon of his performance and his overall leadership. RKN, maybe not FaZe, but in general, what are you seeing after 6, heading into Game 7 with us still on match point for these teams?
I mean, I'm going to just shoot straight. I'm seeing a major surprise from a few teams. I think we all expected Alliance to come out a lot stronger, especially after how they performed in groups and through winners bracket. I personally had them winning this LAN, and right now they're struggling to get to 50.
Well, I mean, comment on that, Tiff. I mean, Alliance, what's going on? Do you see the same thing? Or are you seeing something different? Just slow to start?
It's definitely tough. People are getting a little more aggressive, and I'm noticing teams that hold certain places and zones that they're predicting are actually not the teams that would typically be playing from that area. I mean, this zone pulled staging, right? And that's the exact area where TSM was throughout the entire beginning of the game, that NRG, if they believed it to be a staging zone, would have stayed and held that building. And immediately as that happened, everyone started fighting for the spot that LG Chivas was in. They wanted to make sure they cleared out the train tracks and had the high ground that ultimately TSM got. So it's just like a little different on how you're approaching it. Teams are not where they're supposed to be right now.
Lauren, you have a little bit of a joke going on backstage. When this started, she predicted some crazy circumstance. Walk us through that. What was it? 5 teams? Or walk me through what that prediction was, because it's scary close to happening.
Before anything had even happened, I said that it was going to be 5 teams on match point. It was going to end in Game 7. The only thing I might be a little bit off on now is the fact that I thought the final fight might have been between DZ and Alliance, and they still need to hit that match point threshold.
So here's the thing. You're saying DZ could surprise us all.
It's very possible, yes.
We kind of stopped talking about them, but I'll go down the edge to Dia. DZ is a team that if they are on match point, we've seen what they can do, not just once, but twice. It's not a fluke. This team can win, especially when you least expect it.
Especially now with the experience to back them up. The narrative for DZ this entire tournament has been how crucial Zero's IGLing is to put them in winning positions, because the position means everything. We even saw it today in their zone by Cenote. Having a little bit of high ground, a slightly advantageous spot, pushes Dark Zero beyond the limits of what most teams consider possible.
Tiff, I mean, do you think Litter's prediction is going to come true? I mean, at home as well. Do you think it's going to end in 7?
Everyone back there thinks it's ending in 7. That is the same number that I have heard. So, I mean, game done right there. But you guys are talking about DZ, right? they've only won, I believe, one game throughout this entire week, and we just witnessed it not that long ago. But
Yeah.
it doesn't matter how many you win, it's the one you win. It's now that they've hit the 50 points, they just need to win another.
It's an incredible thing, and I want to shift topic from teams to players. RKN, you've been watching behind the scenes. Who has stood out from an individual perspective to you?
Yeah, I'm extremely impressed with Zainu. It takes a lot, especially at his age, to come out to your first LAN event and put on the performance that he's put on, especially filling the shoes that he's filling for Dark Zero. Coming onto a team that's already previously won 2 LANs, filling a spot like for Sharky after him stepping down, I mean, his performance has been immaculate.
If you don't know the story, Jin Burton, Zero, and Sharky. They were our first LAN winners back when Sweden started. Everyone thought that might have been something special. Stunned the world at championships, which for our second one is coming up in just a little bit. Again, we will tease some information on that a little bit later. But if you have a particular player that you think is doing extremely well today, remember to vote with your Monster Energy MVP hashtags. That's right, use hashtag and the player's name, as you can see on the screen and maybe on this back screen. It doesn't matter. Whichever player you think is performing well, make sure to type their name, whether it's Twitter, whether it's Twitch. We will tabulate that, and along with our votes as well, decide a Monster Energy MVP for today's performance. Now, if you know me, you know I love WD Black. They have been supporting the ALGS season this entire run of this year. And also, they have given us an opportunity to cover some great things that players use you may or may not be used to. That's why it's time for another WD Black What's in Your Pack. RKN, I'm coming straight to you. You know about this weapon. It's kind of been Prowler dominant, but the car still so deadly. Talk to me about this SMG.
Yeah, absolutely. I think in this meta right now, you really have a choice between 2 guns, and that's going to be the Prowler or the Car 99. The Car 99 has really been on the rise. It used to be the gun of choice back in the day before the R9 was reverted, buffed a little bit back to what it used to be. But now, you know, the R99 being back in the package kind of puts the car back into play. The car is going to be your primary choice for your SMG play. It's going to carry you through a lot of your close range fights if you're not using the Prowler, which is the other strong SMG.
It's another one of the SMGs as well that has incredible hip-fire accuracy right alongside the Prowler, and importantly, its flexibility during the early game, and the fact that it has incredible hip-fire means that it's great to pick up when you don't have a weapon yet, as well as once you start grabbing a few more attachments, it ages really well. It makes deathbox looting really important because you don't have to worry about whether you're grabbing heavy or light, so it comes up clutch in the early game, and in the late game, it just takes one more thing off your mind.
One of the beautiful things is that for a team like TSM, who definitely need to win, they don't want to be worrying about light ammo, but they can have heavy with this one as well. So how? Problem solved. That's been the Car SMG in today's WD Black What's in Your Pack. Of course, looking at it as well, guys, this has been one of the greatest, I think, community events that we've been able to have in Apex's LAN history. Obviously, we faced the pandemic. There was a lot of times we couldn't gather. We gathered online. We've talked to fans, and we've kept building that fandom. But one of the ways we continue to let you know how this fandom is built is through the stories that we tell, whether it's the players in the ALGS or the characters themselves with Kill Code, a new Stories of the Outlands Part 1 dropping July 17th. And if I got my calendar correct, that is tomorrow on Monday. So make sure to stay tuned. I'm a West Coast guy, California, LA. Usually for me, that's about 8, 10 a.m. when that drops. But just make sure to tune in at 11 a.m. Eastern time, which is 8 a.m. Pacific time, to catch all of that action. Glare, always fun to see what they put together. And of course, let's take a look at that quickly to show you a sneak peek.
My favorite thing is when they used to, I don't know if you guys remember, but they used to do like those challenges where you had to, it was when you had to find Ash's source codes, like in season 5 or 6, I think. And you had to like, you know, like do certain legends, and then you have to kill all the prowlers and stuff.
All over the Outlands.
The whole, idea of it was to find Ash's source code to introduce her into the game. So I thought that was
always
so cool.
exciting to see what they can do back at Respawn. Very, very happy to be here with all of you. And you know why I make this moment special? Because I don't know if we'll come back before we have crowned our Split 2 playoffs winners here in the Copper Box Arena in London, in the crowd. Let's get hyped. Let's make a little bit of noise. We might just have ourselves a winner here of Split 2 playoffs. And of course, to call the action, let's set it up to Onset and Gasper.
There's a magic word you said then, Rain, that I think is applicable. Might. We might have a winner. We could have a winner. It is possible that we could be crowning a champion in this next game. But if we know anything, Dan, and we've watched enough Apex Legends and Match Point, is that when you just about think that maybe we're about to go over that edge and crown someone a champion, we go again.
Well, all I'll say is all the international teams aside from North America, you need to make your money count now, because we have 5 North American teams on match point going into match 7, and they are all looking hot, fresh, and ready to lift a trophy. So APAC North, EMEA, we need to see you step up here and now.
5 teams. 5 teams now on match point for Dark Zero and TSM. All of a sudden it became a little bit tougher. FaZe with a win in the last game, match point. Oxygen from that last game, match point. And Exit, much to the sadness of TSM fans, in that last game, hit match point. 5 teams are there. If it's not done here, Dan, everyone else is so close that surely, maybe, possibly, perhaps.
Shoulda, woulda, coulda. Of course, APAC South in this lobby as well, with the ability to get onto match point and stop one of these North American giants from winning this tournament. I know that Genome will say Dark Zero still are, but they were playing in the North American Pro League. We have Pioneers on 47, Alliance on 43, and Moist Esports on 42. Those are the 3 teams that have looked solid so far and maybe could find a victory here to keep this rolling into match number 8. But of course, we move over to Storm Point, a very different map.
Oh my goodness.
And it means very different early fights.
If you're wondering why I'm getting, shall we say, a little bit carried away just out of nowhere, we could potentially be going towards a barometer zone here, and Oxygen Esports, dark horses in this tournament, might be very, very happy, but while this contest continues, in front of us, Pulverex do get that first knock.
It's tough for Hand as they unfortunately are in a contest yet again. Pulverex 27 points away from match point. And you are completely right, when we do see where this circle is pulling, it's going to be a little bit further south. It's going to go down towards Barometer. And we've already seen how successful Oxygen Esports have been throughout this tournament when they have zones pulled towards them. Remember, they came top 3 when we had a Barometer-ish zone just earlier on in this grand final. But throughout this tournament alone, they've had 3 Storm Point victories. It's a far better map for them than World's Edge. But we have to talk about pressure. The other squads that we have who are on match point have maybe been here, done that, they've been on the main stage. This is uncharted territory for Oxygen Esports.
Speaking of Arcade in the back, when we're talking about barometer zones and we're talking about Oxygen, he's saying you can almost guarantee if it does go their way, it's a top 3. Just because they have that extreme height to play off the back of. And then late on they can try and take some roofs and they can really cause some problems for the teams who are approaching them from all different angles. But we'll have to see where that zone does end up going. For Dark Zero, it's about getting to zone. And for Pulverex, it's about surviving here. As Geo come and join them and Blackhand inside a Stormcatcher, where we're seeing a little bit of a fight continue.
We have to remember at Split 1 playoffs, it was Storm Point where TSM were able to close it out. But another reminder, Exet were our best performing Storm Point team in North America during regular season. It's all there for some of our top American teams here. But it's about whether you can get it done when the pressure is on your shoulders. Everyone now making their rotations down towards the barometer area. As FaZe have lost 2.
FaZe who are on match point, and I was about to say, have a ring console, where they drop over at Launchpad, now find themselves with a completely different game plan, which is Frex stay alive, run away, and maybe see if you can get some teammates back in. Pioneers trying to hold these eggs at the moment.
Massive fight for Pioneers. 2 points off match point. All they'd have to do is win this engagement, and then they can start trying to play spoiler for the rest of the lobby. But they're being very cautious, because when you are so close, when you're only a couple of points away from match point, you don't want to take too big a risk, because you might miss your opportunity to get to match point. And once they do get to 50, it's about hoping, it's about praying that one of those 5 teams do not win it here and now.
100 Thieves is the team on the other side of this, and they've backed off for now, so Pioneers will be safe. They also have the Catalyst Pioneers to reinforce those doors, control those doors, and make 100 Thieves push even more difficult. So 100 Thieves having trying to make that rotate, well, they're quite simply been beaten there. FaZe still as a solo, trying to creep back up to zone. Frex may be thinking that there might have been an opportunity to third party there, having seen and heard that fight start to break out, but other teams are going to have to replan what they want to do here.
We're going down towards Barometer, as we had mentioned earlier, and we have 3 of our top 5 teams already at Barometer. And the scary thing about this circle is there is so much unplayable space. I'm talking just open terrain where you are vulnerable. But one of our match point teams, FaZe, are now down to just 1. Frex is going to have to try and pull off what would be one of the most spectacular games of his life if FaZe were to win it here.
That
KCP
would
still
be
under
crazy.
pressure. Still need the points. Haven't managed to get any quite yet. Riddle fighting against NRG in the feed as well. Sweet is going to be knocked, but for Pioneers, the story is, like you say, a couple of points, 1 team wipe, and they will be on match point and then hunting down those 5 other teams who are already there ahead of them.
I think they're going to go into another game.
And it's very different, isn't it? Like
great spot for them.
When you see that there's 5 teams on match point, it's not as simple as just running at teams and hoping it's going to be one of them. Instead, you realistically have to just win the game. That's the easiest way to deny things, rather than thinking about, oh, is this the comp of TSM? Is this the comp of XSET? Just focus, get to 50, and then think about winning the game. Effect has just gone down in the kill feed as well. Alliance have lost 1. It's Kabaddi Artisan who are going to be above them and trying to push their advantage here.
Now what do Alliance do? Do they try and escape? Are you going to be able to? That's the real question. Tee them up, but can you knock them down? Or will the zone do the work for them? They will get the finish here, as Effect is finished then. Oh my word. Listeners coming after you, buddy. He's on the hunt.
Well, Geo know just how important every kill point could be in trying to catch up these front runners. Alliance eliminated, and they still are not on match point. Remember, Alliance have always made match point and lands, but it has been historically quite late. It's usually when we see a team win the game is when Alliance get there.
I mean, story just repeating itself, right? We were saying the important thing for Alliance in these games is games 1, 2, 3. That's where you need to be within reaching distance and convert onto a match point. Alliance, like you say, always on match point, but so late that they can't really make the most of it. And it's exactly the same here, 43 points for them. I think it just kind of indicates how tough this lobby is to get any points.
So Alliance will have to hope that this not only goes to a match 8, but they would need it to go to a match 9, as Riddle Order also eliminated in the kill feed. But look at the amount of teams that have already found their way to Barometer, and it is going to continue to pull towards Barometer as well. It's not going to be in that open terrain I was talking about. Amazing news for those who have been able to post up. One team I do want to talk about is FC Destroy. They find themselves in one of the buildings, center zone, and we've already seen what they can do with that comp, right? They set up a fortress and they deny teams. They could be a real threat in what could be a final circle that could determine how far we go here today.
Give you an update on TSM's position as well. They're holding. The egg building is just outside of the exit to Jurassic Park, which is going to be close to where that zone is going to be pulling. If we do see it pull maybe out towards that island, TSM could have a pretty good walk-in with everyone else having to leave Barometer. But I think you're right, Dan. I think it might look like it's going to be pulling to where FC Destroy are. Dark Zero inside a Barometer right now, but very much with a lot of teams to go through to even get near that zone.
Both Dark Zero and Oxygen don't know where this next circle's going at the moment, so it's just a waiting game. It's being patient for the next minute and 34. Let round 2 close, and then you're going to have to start to plan your next move. And Oxygen know this circle better than anyone. This is their drop location. It's their best chance of, if ever, to win this tournament. But because we saw the likes of XSET move so quickly, Dark Zero move so quickly, TSM have already found themselves in the circle as well. They all have a chance to win it here in match 7.
And now Ascend creeping up on the position of TSM. Verholst is a little bit trapped due to that charge rifle on height from Oxygen, so Verholst is going to have to be careful here. Kashira backs off. Zero is going to be used here on the side of Ascend.
It's not the first time I've seen Kashira creeping up on TSM. It reminded me a little bit of Split 1 playoffs, but this is very different for Ascend. They are nowhere near match point at the moment. They are on 4 points, but they do have the chance to at least take out the lobby leaders, TSM. Are they going to try and push this one? TSM are posted up. They are ready and waiting and encouraging this fight.
I mean, the difficulty here for Ascend is the fact that TSM's comp gives them so much value in team fights. You hit the CQ, you've got the black hole, you've got the ability to use that Dark Veil, and I think Ascend smartly have decided, you know what, this isn't a fight we can win in this position.
So Ascend will back off, sensibly. But it has not been the same story for the EMEA Giants. Just the 4 points and a long way to go to match point, especially when 5 teams from North America are already on that threshold. So TSM will just hold this for now, and they're going to be comfortable for quite some time. The action is probably going to unfold on either the southeast or southwest of this zone, as Frex is still on his journey, everyone. Still trying to toss that ring into some lava and hope that he can pull off a madness. Imagine.
Just saying, snipe down on Phony. If Frex wins this, you're going to have to give him a bigger cut of the earnings. Dark Zero still in that building we were talking about, and we saw them in quite some time ago, just inside a barometer, down on the south side. Fnatic very close to them as well. Pioneers still in the egg buildings that we saw them in, but they're going to have to move as well. Elsewhere, Pulverex over at Launchpad at the moment. They've just hit the ring console. They're going to be arriving extremely late. They are deep into zone.
Just to give you an idea of where Dark Zero are and how far they have to move, they just have to shift slightly west, and then they would be in the next circle. But where they are currently, that building is not in. Now, this is starting to get a little bit difficult for some of these squads who are piling on these buildings. Dark Zero will be happy for the next 20 seconds, but as soon as this closes, they will get info of, okay, we need to plan another move in deeper to Barometer.
Dark Zero are going to be safe for now. Geo on our screens. Working their way in and around Jurassic for now, but I think the interesting thing to keep our eyes on right now is what's happening at the south side of this zone. Pioneers, we mentioned, right? They only need a few points. They need 3 in order to go on to match point. LG are having a poke and a prod and a look, and behind LG is 100 Thieves. 100 Thieves get any damage and fighting breaks out, then Pioneers might make the call here to make their move.
The trouble for Pioneers is when you are this close, you're so reluctant to go placement heavy and force your way into a position which could be contested, because with just 2 points required, you need to just play with such little risk. They are starting to make their move now. They are being tagged up, but they should be safe under the bridge for now. But in 1 minute 30, they have to keep going. And as they approach the zone, that's where Exit are. That's where Fnatic are. That's where Oxygen are. That's where everyone is right now.
I have no choice, though. This is the only problem, right? I mean, the decision had to be made. Do we try and maybe look for a third-party opportunity? Do we try and rotate in towards zone? And using that Dark Veil, they have just about, Nasky 1 HP, survived. But Oxygen on that height, that's the problem for everyone in this lobby at the moment.
Well, when we get a chance, I'd love to look at the map and see where this circle's going, because I've got a feeling there's a couple of buildings that are going to be in prime position. Optic Gaming have been holding down center zone for quite some time, and look where that zone is going. OG with a chance to maybe disrupt everything and keep us going to match number 8. But of course, there will be teams trying to take that building off them. FC Destroy, for example, who are just a little bit further north. They can hold residence for now, but they might just decide to go for a Newcastle ult, attack, and try and take it off of them.
Blackhand eliminated in the meantime. They will not be on match point. Oxygen now have to plan their next move, but everything they do is going to be from height. So they will be able to be a little bit patient here. 15 seconds remaining on this zone. They'll be safe for the next. But damage will be pretty easy for them to output and chip away at, and they can use that to force teams into each other as well, almost create space themselves.
And I saw a very deep inhale, exhale from Aiden there as they start to brace themselves, as they know it's about to get serious. We're getting into crunch time as round 3 begins to close. There are 6 squads who are outside the circle who are all going to be making their way in. TSM are going to be holding out a lot of these teams, as Pioneers still only need 2 more points. They're holding this southern side. They should be okay with where they reside.
Pioneers need to move, need to rotate. Let's jump into a listening now and see what Nasky's telling the troops.
It looks free on our close side. I think we commit.
Wait, I'm gonna wall just in case. Go.
You ready for a fight?
Scan.
I'm scanning it. Free.
Nice, good shot. Good rotate, nice.
Take that. Really good job.
Yep. Oh, yeah, good rotate, bro. Like, actually, good job.
Well.
like actually good job.
Can't like up here is free too, right? It looks free, yeah.
Pioneers make their rotate, but there's action elsewhere, and it involves
No.
TSM. Ascend have been eliminated. They've done job number 1, but now Reps and Imperial Howl have to do it to keep their chances of winning in this game alive.
100 Thieves are on one side, Gambariotta's out on the other side.
Dead,
TSM are
bro.
getting sandwiched, and Reps is the last remaining player
And
here.
100 Thieves are doing so much damage from the high ground. Can Reps buy the time? No!
No.
TSM full! 100 Thieves come out on top in this fight, take the cannon spot away, and make TSM fans wait.
One
That's
down,
crazy, bro.
4 to go. Dark Zero, FaZe,
That's
Oxygen, and XSET still alive. But remember, FaZe are just a solo rat, so the likelihood of them winning, very, very slim. But I have seen
That's
incredible things happen in Apex Legends that I will not call it impossible. So, 100 Thieves now hold the eastern side. The team that's holding them out is LG Chivas. And then in the inside of Center Circle, we have Optic Gaming and NRG.
I'm sick.
Don't want to sound crazy, but Frex kind of has that side of zone to himself on FaZe. Just saying. However, Pioneers might wrap on his position right now, and they might sniff him out. So FaZe fans, hold your breath. Pioneers need just 1 point here, Dan, and it's almost poetry that they would find Frex, right?
I mean, FaZe fans, slow your heart rate and hope that Seer doesn't catch you out, because you are very close to the Pioneers. To give you an idea of where Frex is, he's just behind where Nasky currently is right now, just trying to rat away. Now, NRG are in the kill feed, but they've lost 1. OG have just lost 1 as well. Now, Fnatic have jumped on Optic Gaming Center Circle, and that is an incredible fight going down, because that could be the building where we finish this game.
Except making their move as well. One team who is on match point. Hemlock in the hands of Nocturnal as well. And I mean, what a story this would be. It looked like they wouldn't be here. It wouldn't like looked like it wouldn't make the grand finals. And now it's looking like they might just win the whole thing.
No.
Pioneers take FaZe out, and Pioneers hit match point.
No way.
So 3 teams remain who are already on match point and could still win. As for Pioneers, they have to go into the next game for their chance to be called champions. So now it's about disrupting. Now it's about killing. Now it's about being cynical and taking the game out of the hands of the other teams.
Oxygen are inside of the building, inside a zone, sharing it with Optic Gaming. Taking damage as we jump over to their POV. They're trying to assault this building. This fight is potentially a tournament-winning fight if they come out on top, but Aiden cannot go down.
If they can hold this building, if they can get inside of this building, then they will be in prime position. But look how they're being held out, because there is not just one team in that building on set. Both Fnatic and Optic reside in there, so it is not an easy push.
Nocturnal taking damage as well, having a smoke, having to use all the utility in the world. Sykes is gonna peek, Sykes is gonna fry! The Jaguares is taken down from LG.
XSET can hold this southeast zone. This is perfect. If they take down LG Chivas, then they should have a comfortable rotation in. A lot of damage is taken onto Fun, but this is going to be okay.
Shield swap!
Surely
Shield swap!
Oh my goodness! But it's okay. Teammates are there to save the day, but oh no, the grief! Moist Esports are in the area.
But the shield swap changed the dynamic of that fight. It could have been done 3 seconds earlier. 3 seconds more efficient. But the delay on the fight being clean means that XSET lose Sykes.
So now XSET's chances of winning here is also very much lowered. And it was Moist who were able to do so. Moist, by the way, 7 points off match point. They're not far off either. But look at that circle. Look at the amount of teams that have found their way to that building. 100 Thieves, Optic, Fnatic, and most importantly, Oxygen. Now, Dark Zero have to move here from the southern side. They're trying to create some space here with a lot of these shots. They're poking, they're prodding, but then when they have to move, they need to find somewhere to live.
Oh, Vayne gets the barrier off, but this is the problem now for Oxygen. Everybody's having to move in. Everyone is focusing them as they're trying to output damage, not only to keep themselves alive, but stop teams rotating into their position. Nice shots coming in, and I think that's XSET who are going to be trying to cross at the moment. Aiden the Destroyer!
No.
He's down the Sky Nade! Decimates them on height, and Vayne is left on his own. zone.
Vayne left to try and just pull this one off for Oxygen.
Dark Zero made it in. They've made it into zone.
They have. They found a position just on the southern side. And remember, Dark Zero are the healthiest squad we have now who are on match point. They are going to hide away by that rock. They used the Dark Veil. They avoided all the damage. And now they just want to slow this one down. 11 squads remain. Dark Zero with the biggest chance of winning this one in this match number 7.
Shots coming in from Jim Burton. All of Australia watching right now as Vayne, the last hope for Oxygen Esports, of one of the greatest underdog stories that we've seen in Apex Legends.
Exet are a 2. Oxygen just 1. It's Dark Zero as a full 3. We also saw Pioneers eliminated, but they've got the job done. They will be on match point if we go into match 8.
Exet's still here. Exet have taken height.
I will say, Exet also do have that banner, so if they have a mobile res, there could still be a chance they can get back up to a 3, but you'd imagine it probably would have been popped had they had one. So it may just be an attempt to win the championship here with 2.
Little roof over their heads is going to keep them pretty safe for now.
10 squads remaining in the final circle, by the way.
And now the fights break out. Exet as a solo. Nocturnal finds fun. Taken down, trying to survive, trying to avoid the piercing spikes, but with just 5 HP, Exet, they will fall. At the hands of Moist Esports, we're down to just 9, and Dark Zero is still alive. Fire Beaver's eliminated 2, and look at this, Vayne's still alive!
Vayne's still alive, smokes go down, but it's Dark Zero who push on in from this southern side. They're working together, they have so much cover from these Dark Veils, but there will be eyes. NRG have a great angle on Dark Zero as they move towards center zone.
Vayne's still alive though, Vayne's still alive here, and will be alive for as long as he can. Dark Zero creeping up, slowly. Trying to avoid all of the carnage that's going down around them, but look at what's happening elsewhere. You've got FC Destroy taking on 100 Thieves. FC Destroy getting taken down. Moist Esports fighting as well. Optic Gaming watching all of this going down, as are NRG.
If you are in this final circle, you cannot blink. Otherwise, you might miss a kill, you might miss the damage. Dark Zero are still center zone. They still hold the position. There is absolute carnage around them.
Vayne!
No way.
There's absolutely no way!
No way.
He's still alive for Oxygen Esports. He's gonna have to take zone damage. Can he get lucky here? Can he find somewhere to play? There's a player behind him. Now he goes on the grab lift.
No way, this man
100
wins
Thieves
this.
out. Fnatic out. Vayne. He's out as well, but what an effort. As Dark Zero now moving.
Dark Zero, Optic Gaming and NRG, but Dark Zero are losing. They're taking damage, but no. Here comes Zero.
Zero, the captain, the IGL.
Let's go, Zero. No way. That's crazy.
Match point specialists. Dark Zero are your champions of the ALGS Split 2 playoffs.
They've only gone and done it again. What an intense and incredible final circle we just witnessed. We had 10 squads going into that circle. I'm not even sure half the teams knew what to look at throughout. It was about trying to survive for so many of the teams, but for Dark Zero, they had a plan from the very beginning. It was push from the south, it was hold center zone, it was use the Dark Veils, but it was the team shot. It was the prioritization of every single kill as they all stayed alive and made sure that damage was done.
And that young man on the right of your screen, Zainu, picked up his first ever LAN and his first ever championship as well. But I gotta say, Dan, for as well as Jim Burton played, for as well as Zainu contributed to that endgame, the IGLing and clutch factor of Zero in that final game is indisputable.
TSM chants still ring around the copper box, but it is Dark Zero who take the plaudits. TSM will take second place though, but they want nothing but first. They want their hands back on that trophy. And I think we're starting to see a bit of a rivalry develop in Apex Legends as these trophies just keep going back and forth. Dark Zero, TSM, it's always one of those two teams. Unbelievable final we've had here today. I feel just an absolute, I'm just so lucky to be here with all of these people. Incredible stuff.
We'll take a look at the final circle and we'll see exactly how Dark Zero win again.
That was crazy, bro.
Match point specialists. And it's because of decisions like this, Dan.
So they used the Dark Veils and they used other people's Dark Veils to get as central as possible. They recognized that the wall there was going to give them so much cover. Their biggest worry was NRG, but that silence from Jen Burton was everything. It gave them all of the information where NRG were, and then they knew where they had to be focusing for this period of play. As soon as they've been able to get enough damage or watch them leave, they could then start to think about who would be arriving next. But look at how they just hold so much space here.
They hold the space, but it's the fact they don't show presence for as long as they can. No one is firing a bullet until they have to. As the carnage unfolds in front of them, they are covered. Almost like a security blanket by the Dark Veil. 3 squads remaining. Then the carnage starts to take part.
And this was when I was worried. I thought maybe they'd taken too much damage because Jen went down so low, but then Jen threw himself into this final zone, and Zero, with a slither of health, made sure he got the job done. And you saw the reaction. You saw what it meant to Dark Zero taking home this trophy. And you mentioned it on set. Zainu, on his debut at LAN, is a champion on the international stage.
1 kill for Zero. But what a kill it was. It's a championship winning kill. But my God, Dark Zero in that endgame. That's how you win tournaments. It's being cool under pressure. There's your final scores from match 7. 18 points the total, but let's be honest, who cares? They won. Simple as that, really.
It was Optic Gaming who came in second place, who were having that fight, and it was NRG at the end in that final circle. So close to going to match 8 there, but it was Dark Zero clutching up. But the points are, of course, important because it will find out who finishes first, second, third. As I mentioned, TSM will finish in second place and still take home an incredible amount of prize money.
A huge shout out as well, I've got to say, to Oxygen.
Oh, yes.
Just for a second there, I started to believe because there was the visual clutter. He gets up on the balloon and somehow stays alive, finds a grab lift, somehow stays alive. These are your final standings though. Dark Zero at the top of the pile. TSM cannot go back to back, but come in second place with an incredible showing. But it's Oxygen in third, which I think is the most impressive outside of course, the win for Dark Zero.
And we were lucky enough to speak to some of the Dark Zero fans and of course, Dark Zero parents yesterday. And you can see what it means to them and the emotion on their faces to see their sons take a victory here in London. It sets us up perfectly for a World Championship, doesn't it, on set? Because we had TSM win split 1, Dark Zero win split 2. I'd like to take a bet on who you think might win those World Championships.
Well, we've got one more thing to do here, Dan, before we, of course, end the tournament, and that is, of course, crown a champion. It is, of course, time for us. We're done. Good job, by the way. To send it down to Blaze, because Dark Zero, they've got a trophy to pick up.
Thank you so much, Mark. Fans all around the world, give it up for your champions, Zero, Jen Burton, and Zainu, as Dark Zero are your Split 2 playoff champions. Wow, wow, wow. Talk about making history once again. Everybody, one more time, give it up for your champions, Dark Zero! Oh, Zainu, talk to me about how it feels to become a champion for the first time.
It's insane, man. I can't believe it. I never thought I'd be here, you know. Shout out to my teammates. Third win for them. Third win. They're insane.
What was it like having to be in that lobby? It was absolute chaos in that final circle, but now you become a champion once again with your family in a crowd.
Yeah, it feels great to be the best again in the world. And big shout out to my parents. My brother's here, my dad's here, and my mum is here, so I had to win this one for the family.
And I know the family is so proud. I'm gonna move on here down the line because I gotta talk to the three-time champ Zero. And in this moment, I would like to let everyone know around the world that Zero is your MVP. Zero, what does that mean for you after coming out once again with a trophy?
Absolutely insane. Like, this is Zainu's first Pro League split at 17 years old. Like, that just doesn't happen, really.
Doesn't happen.
But, like, to play like that as well, in the form we did, we only really messed up one game. The day.
You guys definitely were the best on the day. Now, Nick, let me talk to you because tell me about these boys and all the hard work that they've done to get to this point.
I don't know. I'm going to be honest. The gap between them and everybody else is unreal. I mean, we showed it. The amount of space we put between this team and everybody else was just, it was hard to believe. In a finals lobby, too.
Especially a finals lobby like this in Copper Box Arena in London. Now, boys, as you guys bask in this moment, what do you want to say to the fans that's been supporting you all throughout the weekend, all throughout your careers?
Thank you for all the fans. I want to shout out my mom again. She's the biggest supporter I've had. She's the reason I'm here. Thank you for all the fans. I appreciate it, guys.
Big shout out to the fans at home and on the stage. You guys were phenomenal. Absolute insane energy.
Insane energy out there, everybody. Zero.
Yeah, both my parents have been to 2 lands and I've won both of them. I think they're a good luck charm. But shout out to all the boys cheering us on home.
I think they're a good luck charm too as well. One more time in the chat and in the venue all around the world, give it up for your champions, Dark Zero!
They do it once when we come back after 900 and something odd days in Sweden. They shock the world. We go to championships to get a rematch. And we think there's no way it could happen again, and they do it again. We come back, it feels like TSM is back on top, and they can't be stopped. But in Split 2, Dark Zero say, no, we are here, and we are here to stay. The journey, the destination, they've got it all. Dark Zero, your winners here in Split 2 playoffs, and what a story they have seen. What tremendous moment for them, Glitter, to have that behind us.
I mean, phenomenal performance across the entire weekend. Obviously a team that we talk about all the time, being the land specialists, now tied in this kind of back and forth competition, this rivalry they've got going on. This is going to make champs so much more insane.
Yeah, and it was a chance. I'm gonna go straight to you, Tiff, because we had been talking about Dark Zero right beforehand. It was a chance for them to step up, and they certainly took that moment.
It was quite impressive, and they had their work cut out for them. When you break back that zone, they didn't have the easiest rotation to it. If anything, Xset and Oxygen had really good positions in that zone, but you know, things happen, frag grenades happen, and next thing you know, Dark Zero's got a pretty solid rotation off a catwall.
And Dia, you are such an analyst of this game. Can you even put into stats or words the poise, the effectiveness that Dark Zero somehow keep pulling out in the biggest moments in the world for Apex?
I think it's very difficult, but statistics, as you say, do help, and it helps to put it in contrast to every other game in the world. I mean, if you're playing one team versus one team, right, it's normal that you'll have around a 50% win rate if all things are even. As we introduce more squads, as we get into a battle royale with 20 teams, I mean, you guys at home, go check your win rate. It's available on your stats page, and it's going to be incredibly low because that's what a Battle Royale means. And now we have a team that has a 75% win rate against the best teams in the world in the hardest format in the world.
Unbelievable.
What?
3 of 4 of our lands, they have won that we have had since we have been back from the times of closure in the pandemic. It's just hard to put into words. And now they are clearly the land favorites. They're clearly the best in the world. And I want to get to you, Sabs, to walk us through how they won that final circle, because it was not easy. We thought, you know, Vayne was going to be landing on palm trees, and there was 2 other teams that could have won. But walk us through how Dark Zero made it happen.
You know, I think when Vayne went in the air, I was pretty sure he's gonna grief Dark Zero. They're gonna, you know, they're gonna get a knock. Because of that, they're gonna lose. But, you know, they did their best. Then they just walked through. They walked so easily. They showed how easy it is to win.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that we did notice here in the end was the fact that the positioning that Dark Zero was able to hold here kept themselves in the right spot for the right amount of time. We talked about those catwalls going up and how important this zoning off this area was for them here, Tiff. This was so perfectly played. They had the God spot for a decent chunk of time and then just played the end to perfection.
Yeah, something that was really impressive is the piercing spikes location. As he backs away to heal, he immediately throws out the piercing spikes and it lands on that supply bin, which means, like, you know, you have to dump a whole clip into it to destroy, but you're able to buy yourself just a little bit more time. And yeah, the grav flip that was thrown down previously, we saw Vayne try to fly into the palm tree, but it was so impressive because Jen Burton falls, there's a black hole, but the hip fire accuracy on the Prowler and how much damage it can do, we have seen hundreds of damage done in a final circle with just 1 clip on the Prowler.
Catalyst walls have also, as we illustrated, been very important. And while it's easy to look at that circle and look at the last cat wall that goes down from an enemy team that separates them, their first was also a stroke of genius, removing them from the line of sight of every other team in the lobby, while simultaneously for the one team on height saying, yes, you can peek down at us, but you have to take this really terrible position in order to do so. So they force this other team to come forward, absorb pressure from the rest of the lobby, and then are able to sit back and relax as more catalyst walls go down.
This is really setting us up very interestingly, and, you know, not to pivot to too big of a story, but when TSM was finally able to win Split 1 playoffs, there was this conversation that we thought ended with who's the best IGL in the world, because Zero had been the one who had claimed that title. 2 land wins in a row. Sweet, Hal, whoever you wanted said, we can't argue with that. It felt like there was the answer, but now the immediate answer back. I mean, that's just performance. And Glitter, I want you to talk about how Zero has led this team, with JMW as a sub getting a win, with losing Sharky in the middle of a season, moving to North America, an originally APAC South team. Let's talk a little bit more about Zero and just what he brings to the squad.
Honestly, any single one of those changes could rock a squad, right? And the IGL is the glue that's going to keep them all together here, no matter what change that is that's coming their way. He's the one making sure that they're handling all of it. Not only that, but walking them through all these strategies successfully. Then not only that, but also slaying out with these stats. I mean, come on, he's literally doing every single thing he possibly could for this squad. Phenomenal choice in MVP, in my opinion.
Yeah, Zabs, talk to us about it. IGLing is not easy, and Zero seems to do it with the...
It's really not. I think Zero is perfect for match point system. I think every single time they're shining, they're literally one of the best. You know, I feel like everyone can be a good IGL. Think that they're good, but the thing is to prove it.
I mean, listen, it's hard to argue with anything that's gone on here, Tiff. You know, we've talked and talked and talked about this tournament, but sometimes you have to be in the moment and you have to just acknowledge that